Welcome back. It's day 27 of Yes Inc.'s 27th anniversary sweepstakes. You did not hear the bell, and that means we don't have a sweepstakes winner today. We need a combined 100 new unique entries in our sweepstakes every day to do a drawing. Today is the last video for our 27th anniversary, and it is your last chance to win $1,000, so keep sharing with your friends and family. We will be announcing our final winners on Tuesday, February 8th, and new videos will be dropping every Tuesday starting February 8th at 7:30 a.m. going forward. So make sure to check out our new video releases every Tuesday morning. Enjoy the video. In this segment, listen to an interview with Dr. Michelle Foreman. Dr. Foreman will share about the EP process, which stands for the Educator Effectiveness Process that she implemented for 5 years as a principal.
Well, reflecting is really key, and that was really pushed with the EP process, and that's been implemented with my current staff as well as where I was at with the EP process, and I love that. Let's internalize. That's another word for that. Internalize. We've gone over A, B, and C, so let's reflect on that. Reflection is big. So for me, I reflected. Okay, you're going to this new platform, new organization. What help you grow to where you are even more effective as a leader? Because a school is only as effective as the leader that's leading the people. And so full transparency. I've always believed you don't ask people to do something you're not willing to do. So if you need me in a classroom, you roll up your sleeves. So sharing that with them. I've been where you are as a teacher. I understand it. And really developing better listening skills and really hear what's being said. And John Maxwell's a big one on that, as is Dave Ramsey as well. Because I was very fortunate in the EP process to go to the Dave Ramsey conferences, which were very key. And some of his key speakers that he had, they stressed that. And in the EP process, they stressed that as well. So just really listening, are you hearing what's being heard and receiving that? And letting everyone know it's a team effort. It's not an I, it's a we. So that's what I really value and have learned from the overall EP process. We held them accountable for their learning. And that's part of the EP process. Effective teaching, effective learning. Yes, tutorials are part of that process. How? People saying, I don't mind doing those tutorials for us, Ms. Foreman, because we want to make sure our students are getting the best education. So I will help with that. Effective teaching, effective learning, success on your standardized tests. It's not always gauged by that, but unfortunately in education, that's how you are determined to be a successful school, is on those state exams. So you want to do well on them. And our students buying into that. That's the other part that people don't discuss. Our students bought into that. It starts with the leader, but the teachers believing in that, and the students believing in that. So that's something I learned from the EP process. You got to continue to have it where your students buy in, because they would come up to me, you know what, I'm going to be commended on that test. I was like, high five. Yes, you are. How are you going to do? I got high five. Who's not really doing well right now? I'm going to go help them, because sometimes they learn better from their peers. And you look up, there you go. And come back the following year, giving them that information. Why are we not sharing the information with the students? It's their exam. Here's how many categories. Here's how many questions. That also goes back to where your data, right? Because your data is going to tell you as a leader what teachers might not be doing effectively in their classrooms, having those critical conversations that you have to have, and accepting maybe somewhere along the way you haven't done the best that you can to help that teacher be mentored if it's a new teacher. I was really fortunate where my teacher retention rate was like 97%, but every now and then you had a new teacher. So I love the part where we had mentors within the EP process for those teachers that were 0 to 3 years. Great idea. We've implemented it where I'm currently at, because you have to go with what's successful. So our failure was, okay, we need this teacher to have a mentor. The mentor needs to meet with them regularly. And I loved how EP has it for the first 6 to 9 weeks, the mentor is meeting with their mentees once a week, if not twice a week, for at least a 45-minute process. So once we established that, we saw growth in that teacher. Then also from myself as the school leader, PLCs are mentoring. Then the unit meetings are getting mentoring because they're working with their colleagues. So accepting that there's our failure or our gap, and then learning how to close it and make it better was awesome to see. Because when those teachers were done with that 3-year mentoring, or even by the end of year 1, you could see the growth in them. How were we able to determine their growth? Their observations, their walkthroughs. We were consistent. You inspect what you expect. So we were consistent morning walkthroughs by my staff. Then you also have to help grow your leaders within that failure, correct? So then we started a rotation where my school leadership team, it wasn't just Ms. Foreman doing morning walkthroughs, the school leaders in the leadership team were doing those walkthroughs. So we created a rotation, and then they would do a summary. But we had consistency of what we were looking for from every teacher, and we did not differentiate from that. Here's what we expect to see. And we saw that. And then those teachers were held accountable when we didn't. Even the new teachers that had a mentor. You reach out to the mentor. This is what I'm seeing. This is kind of what I heard a little bit in the PLC. When you meet with him or her next, can you have this type of discussion with them? Transparency, clear communication. To be clear is to be kind. So that's how we help grow our failure. My continued growth. My growth and learning, continuing to be receptive to the learning from, people such as yourself, Dr. Reed, all of the F people being receptive. Okay, can you share that with us again? Okay, got it. And then taking that and making sure, okay, we want to do this the right way. You got to make sure you're doing this the right way. Asking questions, and your team always being receptive to answering those questions and to helping to continue to grow myself and the rest of the staff. I love that. And because of that, it's helped me where I'm currently at. And because I'll be sitting on something, I'm like, you know what? No, this is how Ms. Warren, okay. This is how Dr. Reed, okay. And I like that. This is how you're supposed to do that. And not everyone has had the privilege, because to me, it's always been a privilege that where I was at, we were accepted into that platform. So when you get that type of acceptance and a privilege, you take it and you enhance and you make the best of it. And that the processes I've learned from EP will always be a part of who I am as a school leader and beyond as a school leader. Because my goal is to continue to move up and share those experiences and make suggestions. And those suggestions that I've made from what I learned from EP, where I'm currently at, have been awesome. Where my immediate supervisor's like, I like that. Or my leadership team is, oh, I like that. They're like, oh, I've never seen that before. They had never done pre-conferences before an announced observation. So they really had never had announced observations. They were just, okay, we're showing up.
Right.
No, we do announced observations. They're like, oh, I like that. Utilizing the script. I like how the script is so profound. Here's A, B, C. Here's your refinement area. Here's your reinforcement area. It's not a negative. It's to help grow you. This is what you're doing well. Let's continue that. So all those processes that make up EP to help a leader, your leadership team, your career teacher leader, your expert teacher leader, you can't go wrong with it. If you follow it, it will lead you to success. And I can speak on that because it's led me to success because I believe in it.
Now let's welcome Claudette Yarbrough, CEO of Yes Inc., as she talks a little bit about the history of youth empowerment services, Yes Inc., from the past 27 years.
I'm back. This should be my final historical moment, bringing us up to the year 2022. And these last 3 videos have been about our federal funding through the United States Department of Education Teacher Incentive Fund grant. Well, I shared that we have funding in 2016 for 5 years. That was TIF 5. Then in 2017, the department issued the new TIF grant, Teacher Incentive Fund, only now they were calling it Teacher and School Leader Grant, right? That's the program. Under the new, I guess, ESSA, law, which is a new Title I law, right? In 2017. Remember, there's a new administration and things are changing. Well, since we had been blessed to receive and be awarded a 2010 $13 million TIF 3 grant and a 2016 TIF 5 $54 million grant, we had a lot of districts interested in our work and basically wanting to get in on this grant funding so that they could do some of the same things our schools were doing. I think that makes sense. What's the problem? As I was working with these districts on recreating our program for them, I missed something. Yeah, I missed that the department had changed. Their priorities had changed, right? What we got funded to do in 2010 and in 2016 was no longer the department's priorities. But yet we submitted 3 different grants with 3 different consortiums of charter schools that replicated what we had done in 2016, and they didn't get funded. We did get funded for the grant that we wrote for our schools. So because we had a 2016 grant that covered everything, I mean, what can't you do with $54 million? Come on. When I met with our superintendents, though, I was like, guys, here's an opportunity. I don't know what we could ask for because we've already gotten this money and we're already doing the work of 2016. And one of the superintendents said, figure it out. She said, there's got to be something. So our team went to work as we were working on all the other schools and the grants. What could Youth Empowerment Services do with our current districts that we don't already have funding for? And we came up with the Teacher Equity Pipeline. Oh yeah. And although our TIF 5 $54 million grant had a human capital management system development plan in it, it didn't have all the pieces because we didn't know what that was going to be. So we hadn't written that into the TIF 5 grant. So in our TSL grant, we wrote in a teacher pipeline where teachers, wannabe teachers, could go through different programs. They can go to a residency program and do 2 years in college, getting a master's degree and a teacher certification while they work on a campus in a classroom, or they can become alternatively certified by going through a program and getting a certification that way, or they could, within their district, go for a content mastery program, or we were developing our own pipeline of alternative certification around our very effective and United States Department of Education approved evaluation system. So there were 4 pillars in this pipeline that we created, and we got funded to do that. And let me tell you, man, that pipeline has produced. Well, are you listening to the videos with all these teachers talking about that's the pipeline, baby. They're coming through the pipeline. I think I heard Anita talking the other day about becoming an effective educator and giving all the credit to Youth Empowerment Services. Well, that came through that grant that we received in 2017 for 3 years. Remember I told you the rules were changing. 5-year grants, automatically were gone. Now you only got guaranteed 3 years, right? And so $8 million for 3 years to develop that pipeline. That has been some amazing work. Oh my goodness. I want to encourage you, if you haven't, go back and listen to these teacher interviews. They're talking about the intensive educator preparation program. That's a significant part of the pipeline where we bring them together, summers and then special training during the summers, 6 weeks of training, intensive. We warn them, look, you're not coming to San Antonio or New Orleans or Orlando to play. We gonna be working. And we tell them to get ready, get a mindset ready. We're talking 8-hour days, homework in the evenings, and then 8-hour more days, right? Weekends off. But they were ready to be intensely immersed in this wonderful, wonderful training that God blessed us to create around helping teachers become effective. And we call it now the best training, free or paid, right? But it's been free because we had a grant, right? That you could get. We're gonna guarantee you, when you come through our program, you will leave an effective educator, knowing how to manage students in crises, knowing how to use social emotional learning strategies for yourself and your students, and above all, knowing how to plan so that you are always managing students, communication, parents, classroom, curriculum. We're helping these teachers become effective by helping them see the leadership in them, right? If you got 30 kids, you are their leader. Hello. And you need to embrace that. Your responsibility to them, your obligation, your accountability is huge. All right. And nothing to play with, because you're looking at someone who I believe I came out of my mama's womb ready to teach. Okay? I've always only wanted to be a teacher. I know when you're a minority and you're in a minority school and you have potential, they try and drive you through law school or medical school, or they expect great things of you because you're going to represent your community because you're smart and intelligent. I think you can be smart and intelligent and be a teacher. And that's what I became. And so this program and everything we've done has been a passionate project because I had great teachers. And I just wish every student could realize the value of education. And that happens when they have great teachers who not only care and love them, but who are competent enough to help them master the content so they can realize their full potential. Hey, I say that in the newspaper article the Express News did on me, sponsored by Thomas J. Henry a couple weeks ago. I'm gonna make sure that's on the website, but I say exactly that. That is why we exist, to guarantee that teachers who come to us are gonna be prepared to support students, no matter what their background is, no matter what their issues are. We don't give up on students. It's not easy, but it's worth it. And we guarantee when you go through our program, you will be able to manage. It still won't be easy, but you'll have the tools you need to become a more effective educator. So these last 3 videos have been about Youth Empowerment's life after the charter school, but it started while we had the charter school in 2010. Our charter school didn't close until 2015. And here we are, 2022, still being blessed to serve our educational community in a marvelous way, in a worthy way. And what Brenda Waters, you might have heard from her as the director of a lot of these initiatives, she termed one of our conferences the intensive educator prep. This is about our noble profession. Being a teacher is one of the most noblest things you could do when you want to give back. And so as I close, I know that teachers are struggling now. School systems are struggling now. Just reading a lot of informational news reports over the past couple of days with the number of teachers and the exodus of teachers who are leaving the profession, not only because of the pandemic, but I know it has a lot to do with it, but the system's unstable right now, right? For a lot of these educators. And they have families and they have futures. And what the pandemic has taught a lot of people to do is re-examine themselves. You heard Anita Linville, go listen to the video, talk about how we focus on reflective activity. So we found a quote. I'm going to give it out to Jill Nayes, found this quote, 2017, we were in Miami at a training with the U.S. Department of Ed, but we also had our own training going on. And we really came up with what we do is not only reflect, but the more reflective you are, the more effective you become. Yeah, a Confucius quote. And that has become our marching orders. Let's think through what we need to think through. Let's reflect on our actions, our past actions, our present actions, so they can inform our future actions. And let's write down our reflections and our individual growth plan. That's our journal that our teachers all know how to write. You know what? I don't know if you heard one of our teachers say they came to us, they ain't like writing and they didn't see the value in it until they met Youth Empowerment Services, Yes Inc. Because if you don't write it down, it don't exist. And so when you write down your reflective thoughts and the things you're really mulling over in your brain about teaching, about education, about little Johnny and why he can't read, and you write down your thoughts as you do your research and you evaluate the way you're thinking and why you're thinking the things you're thinking, it leads you forward to the next powerful strategy, concept, idea you could have to become more effective. There's no secret, guys. That's the way you do it. And we've been blessed to be doing it with the United States Department of Ed for 12 years, at our charter school for 18 years. And now we're 27 years old. Thanks be to God. Glory to him in the highest, because we know we didn't do it on our own. We know who's really in charge. And we are so grateful that we were blessed to do this work and that we plan to continue to sustain the work with our current districts, adding more districts. And we're looking forward to our next summer, this summer in San Antonio. Read all about it. Keep listening to us. Hey, this has been fun for me to share our history, to reflect on where we've come from, and to be super, super grateful for this opportunity. You know what? We don't take anything for granted, and you shouldn't either, right? Most of us aren't, because we done learned that here today, gone tomorrow isn't just some people say it's happening a lot of places. So let's keep all the educators that we know in our thoughts and prayers. God, keep them safe in the midst of this horrible storm. Help us make it through. And above all, help us give you the glory for the things you are doing and have done and will continue to do. Thanks for listening. This is the last of my historical highlights of our 27 years. It's been fun. Thank you for listening. Adios.
Don't forget to tune in each day to hear more content from effective educators and Yes Inc. history. Thanks for watching.